I'm not sure what to do here. I just expected we would eventually move to the basement because that's what usually happens. I'm not sure what to say here. I have no script for the opening of this, and I don't know where he is. I'm going to assume he's upstairs. James, why aren't you already downstairs? The scene opened and you weren't there. Oh. Don't worry, everyone. He's been doing this more often lately, and I figured out the antidote. Want to play some Kirby Air Ride?
Yeah, sure.
See? Works every time.
And yet, every time, we never play Kirby Air Ride.
And yet, that's not the point of the video. What sent your jaw through the floor this time?
Andy, do you know what toy modders are?
I can only assume they mod toys, as the name implies.
Exactly. I only recently discovered there's a massive community of them, and I decided to follow some of them.
Why would toys send your jaw through the floor?
Andy, I'll give you 3 reasons why. 3 figures altered in such a way that multiple narrow audiences are satisfied at the same time through these photos. Yes, it involves Iron Man, but it will also entertain those who like Gundam, PlayArts Kai, and other robot-type content.
Okay, you've got me somewhat interested. What is our first figure?
This beauty!
Oh, I see why this sent your jaw through the floor. Look at that shiny, clunky, futuristic feel. It has James Buy Me etched into it, I would assume. The one thing that bothers me here is that the figure and hammer got some PlayArts Kai type upgrade, but the shield is unchanged. While the shield never changed in the 10 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, if it ever evolves into Mecha Avengers like this, then you would expect the shield to change in some way too, right?
While I do agree with you, it is a distracting disservice to the rest of the figure. The rest of the photos distract you from the shield because holy shit, look at this thing!
What are those backpack jets about? They seem extremely clunky and unbalanced.
It's for getting that extra oomph you need to power jump into space so you can two-handed hurl this epic hammer at an incoming alien threat.
I know how stupid what you just said sounded, but I would pay good money to watch Chris Evans, in this suit, hurl a hammer like that at Thanos' ship. This would have ended things in Endgame real fast. Anyway, this figure is nice, and it distracts from the fact that this is just a repaint of another figure.
I don't even care. This would be a day 1 buy for me. This thing is freaking cool.
Oh, this one seems more manageable.
While this one is much less complicated than the first one I showed and the third one I plan to show you, the subtlety of the color scheme and the figure itself add to the overall James wants this thing factor that so many figures are lacking in.
But what grabs you about this one specifically?
It seems like something we'd see first in an Iron Man comic and then in an Iron Man movie in the future. I feel like this would be one of the armors we would see in the movie just because the director liked a bunch of robot properties.
I guess I kinda see what you mean. If Marvel ever let the directors have more creative influence, I could see something similar to the purple one showing up in some aspect.
Plus, this one is the best color of the similar builds this account created. The red, gold, and silver one is nice, but after seeing it in almost every movie after the Avengers, the color scheme got old.
I see there's a very similar blue one. Why didn't you go for that one?
Due to the subtle design differences between the two figures, I decided to count them as different figures. While I agree the blue one is one serious figure, I prefer the I think I'm being the cool director by doing this vibe from the purple one.
It would probably be some one-shot dark scene like in Iron Man 3 where no one could tell which armors showed up, so Marvel just said which one showed up. And those are the figures you've been fervently buying for years.
Okay. This third one I had a hard time picking because there are a lot of freaking cool ones on here, so I would like to give out some honorable mentions.
You're not just gonna list all the other ones on this account, are you?
Yes. No, just 2. First honorable mention is this green and silver one. Yes, it's just a repaint of the War Machine figure, but the coloring is so clean and so vibrant. This would definitely be a welcome addition to the Hall of Armors. Plus, if you scroll up a bit, you can see the modder added this Gundam tank thing to the whole ordeal. It adds a shit ton of sci-fi potential to the Iron Man persona because of all the ways the tank is being depicted being used. An Orbitar of sorts, a Green Goblin glider, and even this. I don't know what to call this, but holy shit is that cool. Scrolling further gives you some sweet shots of the figure without the glider so you can see the shield and wing type thing it has.
Second on your list is this atrocious Iron Patriot armor. What the din, James? This certain figure already had so much going on, it's a miracle the thing can stand, but this guy just added more and more. I imagine this armor would be much too heavy to fly, much less fight back against Thanos' army. Why would this be on your honorable mentions?
The sheer ridiculousness of how much is attached to the figure, it's hilarious. What the hell? It's a sweet mod to the figure itself, but the extra guns are absolutely ridiculous. Perhaps that was the point. But now we must move on to the third figure I wanted to show you, Andy.
Looking through this guy's account, I can see he does some crazy stuff, so I can only assume the final figure on your list is something pretty crazy, either in the amount of unnecessary pieces of armor stuck to the figure, or the amount of time it must have taken to paint as many details onto the figure as it looks like it took.
No, the final one I wanted to show you, and the one I would probably buy for over $200, is this one.
Oh dang. That's a figure right there. Nothing I would buy, but I would happily encourage you to buy so I can just look at it.
Others on this account definitely take some unique directions, specifically with add-ons and repaints of pieces that come with other Gundam figures, but this one just feels the most different. It doesn't look like your typical Iron Man armor, as most prioritize the quick movement of arms and legs to quickly dispose of enemies. However, this one adapted a Gundam lower half and very thick forearms. There's a lot of firepower packed into this figure's potential, very evident by the enlarged areas near the hands and feet. This is a final battle armor. Imagine seeing this fucker go against Thanos. No, Iron Man would not have lasted as long as he did if he wore this, but seeing this go toe-to-toe with a pissed-off Thanos would have made my fucking hair stand on end.
I see there's a future post featuring a large, over-the-shoulder gun and some sort of wing array for the figure, but it seems so inconsequential. You could skip these parts and still end up with one heck of a figure. Plus, the way the forearms become Mega Man cannons is actually a nice touch. It takes away weapons Tony Stark prioritizes when he fights, namely his hands, in favor of some destructive cannons. But I think you're right about this suit being for some sort of final battle, one that is probably fought at a distance.
I would buy this one, and the other two I mentioned, and the honorable mentions, and probably several more from this person's account. Anyway, do you see why my jaw went through the floor?
I do. Next time though, how about you be somewhere on the ground floor when you let your jaw drop?
Oh, have I shown you this other toy modder, Grandmaster Hand? He does Nintendo toys.
And you kept this information from me? Bruh?
So that's what that looks like. I'll let Andy swipe through so he can get ready for part 2 of this video. Thank you guys for indulging my love of Iron Man figures and toy mods for this video. Follow this Toy Modders account on Twitter and on Instagram at anm.25.yk525. They do some freaking crazy mods and they did not pay me to do this. I just wanted to share this with you all. Thank you for watching and listening, and be sure to follow us and this person's account. Stay safe and wash your hands. Andy, anything to add? I'll take that as a no. See you guys soon.